I'm with my brother right now. He's currently in Jerusalem, correct?
Correct. Yep.
And my brother's a Hebrew Israelite, and he's gonna give us some knowledge and some facts, on a lot of things that we might not know, me or we might have questions on. He's currently there right now, and he's at a historical place. So, my brother, thank you for taking time out for coming on here and
Absolutely. Yes,
let
sir.
the
Peace and
world,
blessings.
yes, introduce yourself to the world and let the world know where you at right now.
Okay. My slave name is Derek Smythe. My Hebrew Israelite name is Adonia Ben Yashra Allah, and I'm currently down here in Old Jerusalem, where they play a place they call Telerad, Israel, and this is the place that we believe to be Mount Zion of old. Um, there's plenty of artifacts that was found here. I got a book. I'm gonna have to pull it out. I'm trying to get to the house. I wanted to get to the house to be able to sit down and get comfortable to be able to do the interview properly to pull out some stuff. But
Well, we could do that too. We could do
um,
that too. We could do that too.
yeah, because I have a map and I have a book I wanna show the world so they can see. Um, but one has to truly come here to see this place and to take certain routes that's talked about in the Old Testament with the Assyrians coming here and the Babylonians coming here. Um, to know that this place is actually the real Jerusalem in the land, the only place that you can find the Holy of Holies, what they call the Kodashins, in a holy place where they kept the Ark of the Covenant at. And this is also Mount Moriah, where Abraham took his son Isaac in Genesis chapter 22. So um, this is nothing religious, though. I want to set that straight. This is nothing has nothing to do with religion. All religion is man-made. They have artifacts here that was found that's written in the ancient Hebrew. And the ancient Hebrew is the basis for all of our alphabets today: the Greek, the Latin, the Roman. But they have they have a bunch of scripts here. I got it in my book bag. I'm gonna show. I have an ancient map also with the city of David and how it lines up with this ancient Gihon spring here. So, but there's a lot of evidence here that points to this place as Mount Zion. Now, modern day Jerusalem, up north, doesn't have the Holy of Holies. It doesn't have the Gihon Spring outside of the two towers. Let me see. I don't know if you can see these two towers here, but you see those two towers up there? Can you see that?
Yes, I can see it from up in the far. Yes.
So those two towers are what they call mellow, and those two towers are what Solomon built. When you look at uh, when you look at First Kings chapter 9 and verse 15, those two towers right there are called mellow, and there's
Mm.
only five other cities that have those two towers there. All right, so this is the only house that the Most High chose to put His name. He didn't, we grew up. I grew up in church. I grew up in the Mount Lebanon Baptist Church in Peekskill, New York, and I was under the impression that that was the house of God, and other churches. But when you look in the Scripture in the Old Testament, the Most High chose to put His name here in Jerusalem. Second Chronicles chapter 6 and verse 6, he said that he chose this place to put His name. And in the ancient times, our forefathers would come here to make their offerings to the priests, to the Levites, because the Levites had no inheritance with the children of Israel, and all their duties was surrounded around the tabernacle. So all of the offerings would come here to the priest. And in the church house, they use Malachi chapter 3, and these pastors in the churches use that scripture, to fill their pockets up. But the offerings wasn't money. The offerings was wine, oil. Uh, it was cattle, linen, different things like that. So, I'm making my way,
Kind of losing you now, brother.
but I'm
Reception. Yeah, kind of losing you now. You kind of froze now.
okay. Okay, yeah, I started walking. What about now? I'm back.
Yeah, yeah, you good. You good. That area right there seems to be
Okay.
perfect. But
Yeah, 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 yeah.
like I said,
Okay.
we're gonna do. It was important that you show us, and like I said, we definitely gonna do something when you get back to the home and show us some more evidence and different things from books. So don't
Yeah,
worry about
yeah.
that. We just
Okay, okay.
we wanted to see this place so people have any ideas or questions or we're just
Yes,
sometimes we're
I
people
appreciate.
of
Yes,
where we want to see things, so
absolutely, absolutely.
and I appreciate you
I
for taking
appreciate
the
I
time doing
appreciate all the questions. All you gotta ask all the questions because that's how I got to where I'm at. I ask all the questions. And if there's a question I can't answer, I'll let you know. But you gotta
that.
ask every question. You see what I'm saying? Because that's how I got where I'm at. That's why you see me now and you know me. You know what I'm saying? Like it ain't like you know me, and I came a long way. I've been to federal prison and did all of that. And I done been here to Jerusalem. This is like my eighth time here, and so I did my due diligence when it comes to putting in the footwork and studying things out. So I have plenty of information. I just did a video not too long ago at the Israeli Museum showing artifacts that they got from this place,
Mm,
artifacts that they got from the graves of the kings, because the graves, all the graves of the kings of Judah, is right up the street up here, and so it's tons and tons of evidence that they have here that they found that this place is pointing to this place as being the Jerusalem of the Jebusites, and when you that's in First Chronicles chapter 11, 1 through 5. It talks about David coming down from Hebron, and Hebron is, let me see, Hebron is up this way, going up this way, the mountains up there, and he came down from Hebron to this place here, and this where the Jebusites was here, and it talks about how the Jebusites said to him that he wouldn't come up in it, but David went up in there, him and the Israelites, and they took the castle of Zion, which is the city of David, and so there's a route that I did. I'm putting it together now, but there's a route that I did showing how the kings of Assyria. This in Second Kings chapter 18, it goes into the Assyrian king Sennacherib, and they have a big artifact in the Israeli museum of him taking a place called Lachish. Lachish is one of the cities of Judah. So this is this is
mm,
extensive research that one got to do. The scriptures is definitely real. The Old Testament is definitely real. There's some stuff that's in there that's been tampered with. But when it comes to the to Mount Zion in the city of David, it it's open here. When you come here and you open up your scriptures and you take these certain routes, it becomes more real than you sitting in the church. You know what I'm saying? And getting brainwashed in the church, because churches is set up by the government, and it's to keep the people in bondage and slavery. And it just has some people that just come up here from Virginia, just came up here from a church, and they still believe Jesus is white and all that type of stuff there. And then I know a lot of brothers, out there because of the Bible was used in slavery. But this is the thing: when you go to the Washington D.C. and you go to the library, they got an old Bible there where they took out like 200 books, 200 scriptures. No, excuse me. They took out about 60 something scriptures of the Old Testament because the Old Testament, they were scared that would have the slaves start an uproar. So they used the Greek New Testament, to enslave the people with certain quotes from the Greek New Testament, to keep us in bondage or whatever the case may be. But the scriptures is definitely African history. you come here, you start putting your feet on the ground, you can definitely verify routes that this is the house of Jehovah or the house of Yahweh, whatever you call them. And so I done did my research here numerous of times. I've been here 8 times, and anybody that ever want to come here that know me, I'm from Peekskill, New York. You can always come, and I can show you the way here. And we got a place to stay out here. And it's just that you got to be built like that to come out here, because this ain't for the wanksters, you know. This
Right.
ain't for everybody.
So let me ask you a
So
quick question real
yes,
quick. I'm gonna ask you a
yeah,
few
yes,
questions
sir.
and then I'm gonna,
Okay,
let you make the transition of, getting to where you want to get at home where, you'll be more able to show, books and everything and that nature.
okay, yes, sir.
Real, like I said, it looks beautiful out there, man, and definitely. But so my question is, when earlier you was talking about coming up, you briefly gave a little intro into where you from, which is Peekskill, New York, just like me. And you talked
That's right.
about growing up in Mount Lebanon Baptist Church, the same church I went to growing up as well. So my
Yeah.
thing is, do you and you talk about how you was kind of misled or whatever have you, or you thought that this was the way. So my
Yeah.
thing is a two-part question. Do
Yes,
you
sir.
do you blame or are upset at your whether if it was your older family members that was that would that brung you up or brought you up as a Christian in the sense of bringing you and try to follow this path, or do you look at it as, well, maybe they just didn't know? Have you ever went to go talk to them after and say, hey, listen, I appreciate you trying to steer me this way, but this is the actual truth? Or have you had any of those type of conversations with them? And at what point in your life did you realize that what you was being taught is inaccurate?
The question. Um, so, well, I wasn't never mad at nobody for bringing me to church or whatever the case may be. Um so no to that. No, and as soon as I found out the truth that I was a Hebrew, I did go to some of my relatives and explain some things to them. But the scriptures say the Israelites, they were stiff-necked people, and in the book of Deuteronomy, it talks about how, they was blinded, and it's still to this day. There's different things that we can't see. Certain of us, we can't see. That's why certain people see things more than others. So, so when I found out that I was a Hebrew, that's what you asked me, right? You asked me
Yes.
when
Yes.
did I?
Yeah.
Yes,
At what
I
point in your
found out.
life? Yes.
Yes, so when I found out in the year 2012, when I was in Queens, New York, one of my one of my one of my brothers' name is uh uh Irvin Mason, aka Spidey. I was in the federal penitentiary with him, and when I was in there with him, he had gave me this book called The Valley of the Dry Bones, and I never read it. I put it in my I didn't have no time to read it when I was in there. And I didn't make time to read it. Matter of fact, I was getting my GED and I was in carpentry school. But when I got out, I was a stay-at-home dad for a little while, and I wanted just to tap back into my spiritual man. And so I started looking back into the Bible or whatnot. And it was tough to understand. It was the scriptures was really tough to understand, Old Testament. So when I was out, my man Spidey wrote me a letter, and he was asking me to send him some information on the Hebrews. And so I went online and I started doing some research online, and I came across this video, and it was talking about this book I had. I had the book in my closet. So it was talking about the Hebrews and how they was gonna go into slavery because of their rebellion and different things like that. So I went into this book. I started reading the book, and like everything that I learned throughout my life, led me to what I was about to find out. All of, like, in our communities, all of our hardships, the things that we face, the hurdles we can't get over, all of our misfortunes of us not getting along, and everything that I was questioning when I was a kid, I just couldn't figure out was in that book. And it talked about, how the God of Israel gave Moses these laws to give to the children of Israel when they got out when they came out of Egypt. And it talks about how it was talking about how they were they was just idol worshippers, and they didn't want to listen and obey the right way. And he said that all in the future that all these misfortunes was going to befall the people. And so I started so everything that I had learned, probably going to church, then converting to Sunni Islam and being part of the nation of gods and earths, it all led me up to what I was about to find out and what truly happened to our people, the so-called Negro. And then I found out, that religion in the Old Testament is called Baal worship. And in the ancient times, the children of Israel, when they were here, they set up churches and mosques to worship. The same thing that we do in captivity, worshiping idols and different things like that, rubbing on rocks. Our ancient forefathers did the same thing here when I started doing my research. And so I started really digging in really deep. And then I ended up finding out about Mount Zion, and I just started finding out like what really happened to our people. And so that's basically, it, and how I got to Jerusalem from just years of research. I think you might know. I think you might start. I think I might have started talking to you some
We
years.
definitely did.
When I
You
was,
definitely did. We had some great
yeah,
conversations. For sure.
that
For
was like
sure.
that was like years ago, like
Years ago.
over
Yeah.
like 10 years. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I have grown more since, because when you find out different things, there's levels to everything. You start reaching different levels in your walk, and for me, I reached this level to now I can show tons of evidence. I can even do a tour for anybody that want to come here. You can come, you know me, so you can come here with me. I can show you everything. Then you can start bringing other people here, and once you get the information, and then you can see that this is actually Mount Zion, and that the Hebrew Israelites definitely were a people. And I want to say this: a lot of hardcore evidence of the existence of the Hebrews is in museums. They have a lot of stuff in museums, hieroglyphics. They got, and even in America, in Los Lunas, Mexico, they have a stone right now that you can see in Los Lunas with the ancient Hebrew on it, and it's the Ten Commandments, right? In Mexico, they have a museum in Ohio with ancient Hebrew artifacts there in America. So if you look up Hebrew artifacts in America, you'll see that there's a stone called the Back Creek Stone that they found in Tennessee, and it has ancient Hebrew on it, and they have it right there in America, in the museum in Ohio. So there is evidence of the Hebrews' existence in America. If you just Google Hebrew artifacts found in America, it'll pop right up, because the Hebrews was there in America fleeing persecution. So but that's that. Yeah.
So let me ask this question. I hear you,
Yes,
and
sir.
just so we are clear, because I want to be clear, and I know, and you have been. You say, you talk about your early childhood and things that you saw and that related you, and things that you see in the Bible, and you looked at your conditions as a child and said, man, some of the things that they're saying, this is like us, that's how we're living. And then you talk
Yeah.
about the Hebrews and we the Hebrews. Who, so we're clear. Who are the Hebrews? What do they look like complexion wise? We want to know, who are the Hebrews?
Hallelujah. Yep. So the Hebrews, according to the Old Testament, come from the seed of Shem. Um, they were by way of Shem, and Shem had a son named Eber, and Eber is actually, when you look at Eber in Hebrew, it's actually Hebrew. Eber. He was the grandfather of Terah, And Terah had a son named Abraham, and Abraham dwelt amongst the Chaldeans, and you know the Hebrews are a younger nation compared to the ancient Chaldeans, the ancient Cushites. They're a younger nation compared to them, but they come from the seed of Abraham. And Abraham had a son named Isaac, and Isaac had a son named Jacob, and they all dwelt in this region here. They were a dark people, and we know that they're a dark people because it talks about Moses in the Old Testament, and the Most High coming to him in a burning bush, and the Most High turning his hand white. And in the Most High, there's a whole scripture in Leviticus chapter 20, Leviticus chapter 13, that goes into the God of heaven turning people white. So the stages of that is what they call vigilario today. You might see some people with that, and people with the half white, half black on their face, and that's a sign from the God of heaven, because that's how white people became about, just like that. That's talked about in the Old Testament, when the God of heaven was turning people white. When he came to Moses, that's what he did. He turned his hand white. The rest of his body was dark. But he were dark people. They grew as a mighty
Kind
Cairo
of
called Bani Hassan.
we kind of lost you for a
You got
little
me, Ty?
bit. Yeah, we kind of lost you for a little bit. All right, go. Okay.
Okay, you got me back?
Yeah.
Okay. So there's a cave down in Egypt, in southern Egypt, called Bani Hassan, with depictions of the ancient Hebrews there. There's depictions of the ancient Hebrews all over Egypt. In Cairo Museum, they have some garments there from the ancient Hebrews with the fringes on it. They have slippers there with the ancient Hebrews on it. So it takes a lot of getting up and really getting out of America to verify information. Putting your boots on the ground and verifying the information. But to answer your question, the Hebrews were a dark people. They come in many different shades, but they are dark people. They mixed in. Seed got mixed in.
So are you saying that they are black? They're black people.
Well, I wouldn't say black, because black is a crayon, it's a color. And black is a derogatory, it's like saying nigger.
Yeah,
It's like
yeah,
somebody calling you nigger, because, you know, according to the United States Constitution, we're not even black or African American or nothing.
correct.
So those are derogatory phrases. But I mean,
For the sake of
for
comprehension,
for,
so
for yeah,
people
for the
understand.
yeah,
Yeah,
for the
yeah.
audience, for the audience, yeah, they yeah, absolutely, yes, sir.
So you mean to tell me, okay. So what we were told as kids and what our parents, great grandparents, great grandparents, Larry, that the Hebrews looked more like us, not more white in a sense. And again, and I'm saying those using those terms are just for comprehension so people understand,
Yes,
what
sir.
I'm saying.
Absolutely. Yeah. Well, in the Old Testament, God was turning people white. That's the thing. Like, he wasn't turning people dark skin. He wasn't cursing people with dark skin. He was cursing people with white skin. You see, so one got to do their research. It's in there. It's in the Old Testament. If you look in Leviticus 13, it goes into uh, it goes into leprosy. You see, and leprosy is white, to be turned white. And there's a couple of different incidences where he turned Moses. Moses had a sister named Miriam, right? And Moses, and it was a time where the Most High commanded our people to marry within our own nation. We're supposed to, to keep our seed pure. But Moses, he had an Ethiopian woman, and his sister and his brother spoke against him because of the Ethiopian woman. So the God of heaven came down, and he turned Miriam into a white woman. That's in the Bible. You see, that's in the scripture.
Hmm.
You see, that's in Numbers chapter 12, verse 10. You can see You can see Miriam being turned into a white woman.
Now, why
And
won't
then when
we?
he came to Moses,
Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm
yeah,
sorry. Go ahead. Yeah, go ahead. Go ahead.
no, but and then also you can see Moses, his hand being, the Most High turned his hand. See, when the Most High turned Moses' hand white, he was letting him know that he changes the pigmentation. That is so when you see a brother with white over here, black over here, and when you see that, that's a sign from the God of heaven. And you can
Mm.
read about the Old Testament. And see, a lot of us we wasn't taught that because in our churches, the churches are set up on the Greek New Testament. And the Greek New Testament has us serving the idol. So we don't, and a lot of us don't have the understanding and what's written in what they call the Old Testament, which is sacred, which is from the Hebrews. But because in there, the God of heaven was turning people white.
So why? And I'm gonna get you out here on this question as far as get you out where you at now, so we can make the transition to where you can,
Okay.
get home. Um,
Okay.
you kind of answered the question, but that I'm gonna ask it again in a sense, so you can maybe elaborate a little bit. Why? Because yes, it is in the Bible, so yes, you can see it. But as growing up, do you think? Let me ask that again. Growing up, we weren't really taught those scriptures and different things in the Bible, in the Bible. Why did the pastors, why did our parents, why did they withhold this information from us? Did you think they knew, or what is because like I said, it's in the Bible, but and I for me growing up in the church, I was never given this information. I'm sure you wasn't either. So that's what I just wanted to know. Why wasn't this information ever brought to us?
Well, I believe that a lot of the pastors probably don't even know, because church is a gimmick, and
Mm.
it's not really nobody. It ain't really no deep studies in there. So it takes one individual to seek out things for themselves. So a lot of stuff wasn't taught to us. I remember when I started reading the Bible for myself and I started getting knowledgeable a little bit when I was about 13, because we used to have church at my house on Howard Street, 1125 Howard. And I remember reading in the Old Testament where it told us not to eat no pork. And I brought that to the pastor, and I remember to look in his face, and he didn't look me in the face. He didn't look me in the face when he gave me an answer. He was just, you know, if you pray over it in the name of Jesus, it's clean.
It's
But that,
clean.
that was a damn lie. Yeah.
Mm.
So as I got started getting older, I'm 44 years. As I started getting older, I started getting wiser, and I started learning a whole bunch of stuff. Like my eyes been open. Like I done reached different levels in my life. So now I know, like the Old Testament is ancient African history. It has nothing to do with religion. The God of Israel didn't give religion. He gave the best law ever. He gave the best economic law ever that man has ever seen. Now, if one takes the time out and study his economic laws and his laws of redemption, and you compare them, you can clearly see that we would rather be governed under his law. But it takes an individual to study that out. But the churches will tell you that the laws of God was harsh. That's what we was taught. We was taught that the laws of God was harsh, that the Israelites couldn't keep it, and different things. The Israelites were, when they was here in this land, and this is why this land looks like this. This is why Mount Zion looks the way it looks. It looks all dusty because when the Israelites was here, right? When they was here, they turned this place into uh old Chicago,
Mm.
old Detroit, old Peekskill. It was a bunch of violence in this place. You got to go back and you got to read the kings of Israel. Read about the kings and the different legislation that they came in. Because once different kings came here to rule, and from Jerusalem, they came with different legislation. And this is what people don't understand because we've been taught religion, but the Old Testament has absolutely nothing to do with religion. All forms of religion, I don't care what it is. It be Islam, Christianity, Judaism, Buddhism, all come from a man. In the Old Testament, the God of Abraham, the God of Isaac, the God of Jacob, he only gave law, the best law that man has ever seen. If you know anything about law, can study the law of God and compare it to the laws that we're currently governed under. There's no redemption. There's no laws of relief. We have no relief under these laws that we're currently governed. The law that we're currently governed under is laws of oppression to keep us down, down, down. Taxes. Taxes is a curse. There's no taxes under the laws of the God of Israel. So the laws that we're currently governed under, if you study the laws that the Creator gave, and you compare the economic law to the economic compare the economic law from United States compared to the economic law that was given to Moses to give to the children of Israel in Egypt, and then you can see that economic law that was given to Moses was unbelievably the best economic law in the entire world. But it's up to one to do his due diligence, like me, and seek that out and compare the law. See, I've been to prison, so I know a little something about law, and I know the difference between religion and government. You see, so the Old Testament is government. That's what it's dealing with. It's not dealing with religion. The New Testament is dealing with religion. The New Testament is dealing with idol worship. You see, so the New Testament is Greek, and they connected that to the ancient Hebrew, and then it's two different, and then there's so much confusion in that it has people in the churches not worshiping the God of Israel, but worshiping the damn idol. You understand? Can you hear me, Ty?
I hear you perfectly.
Yeah.
I hear you perfectly.
So yeah, so for me, that's from I did, and I challenge anybody, and it's I tell you, it's nothing overnight, man. It's not gonna come to you overnight. It's levels to it. You got to ask all the questions. You can't leave a question out. You got to ask every question.
Correct.
Every question you got to ask every question, and then you have to test everything. Because that's what I do. That's why I'm here. That's why I come here to test everything to make sure that what I stand on is the absolute truth. And so that I challenge everybody to do that. And I challenge everybody to test religion. Look at all religion. All religion, it doesn't matter what it is, and enslaved our people. And then in religion, our names was changed. In Islam, they changed our name to Akbar, Muhammad, Sharif, Abdul. Christianity, they gave us, Smythe, Welch, Jordan, Hamilton, Hammonds. So our original names were stripped from us, and religion is even in here, in Mount Zion. When our people was here, they became religious, and that's why we got kicked out of the land. And so religion has been the Achilles heel to our people, religion. And then we lost our culture. See, what I do is I found what I believe to be my true culture. And so that's what I come up here to do, to exercise my culture and try to be a better man. That's my main goal for me and my family, to become a better man, a better husband, a better brother. You see what I'm saying? And to be able to bring information for those people who want to hear and are seeking the truth. Yes, sir.
So last question, because you're there right now. Last question while you out there, so we make that clear. You're
Okay.
currently in Jerusalem right now. What's going on with you know, the
The
Palestinians and everything?
Palestinians.
Yes, and yes.
Okay,
What's
so
going
it
on?
all goes
What
back.
give us the
Yeah.
truth of what's really going on?
Yes,
Wait, are you safe, brother? Are you anywhere near
I
there?
am.
You
I am
know,
safe. I
okay,
am. I am
okay.
safe. I am safe. Thank you for asking.
Yeah, come,
Yes. Yeah.
How far is
Safe.
that
I'm
from
safe
you?
here.
What's going,
Yeah. Well, it's going down with the Palestinians. It's been going. See, the League of Nations gave this land to the Khazarian Jews in 1948, and once they came in here, they you know they just been slapping the Palestinian people around. But see, the Palestinian people also, they just like the Jewish people, they in the ancient times, when you get into the book of Ezra, chapter 3, when our people came back here from Babylon, these what we call Palestinian people, they were here. They're a makeup of a different Arab families, and so when our people came back and they were here, they were our enemy too, and so and they was and then when and they were put here, they were put in this land by the Assyrians. The Assyrians put them in this land, and so they've been here. And but when we came back here, they were here, and we got kicked out of here again. They still stayed here, and so when the Jewish people came in, the Most High used them Jewish people to slap them around for the sins that they committed against our people. So what's going on with them is prophecy being fulfilled. Zephaniah chapter 2 verse 4 talks about Ashkelon and Gaza and all that being destroyed. So the Most High has a vendetta against those Arabs that's here. They don't like black people, So, and what's happening with them is biblical prophecy. And so, in the future, the scriptures talk about how we're gonna come here. Most High is gonna raise up a bunch of us, and he's gonna and just like how we seeing people migrate and come into our cities and stuff, it's gonna come a time when we're gonna migrate back here, and everybody's gonna see us come here, and then when we come here, we're gonna be slapping the Jewish people around and stuff. It's written in the Old Testament in Zephaniah chapter 10, and it talks about how we're going to be beating up a lot of people, but I'm safe here. And this confusion's been going on here with these people since 1948. In the Old Testament, in the book of Jeremiah, chapter 25:15, it talks about how the God of heaven sent out his cup of fury to all nations and made all these nations drunk and are driven mad. So this is what, and so when you get into those prophecies, you can clearly see what's going on. Like I see. So
Mm.
it's portrayed like the Palestinians and they care for the Palestinians, but let me tell you, the Palestinians don't like so-called black people. When we was going through it in America, they wasn't helping us. Ain't the Jewish people neither. They ain't want nothing. As a matter of fact, these Jewish people still here, they racist. There's a community here, upstate here called Mitzpeh Yerimo. And I was up there last week. I'm gonna put a video out. I ain't put it out yet, but we was up there. We went an Airbnb up there. It's a closed Jewish community. And they were so racist towards us up there, man. They kicked us out of the community in the midst of this war. You see? So we still getting treated as second class citizens, even here in Israel with these fake Jews. And these Jewish people come from the Caucasus Mountains. They're not Jews at all. They tell you in their own writings that they not connected to the 12 tribes of Israel. They got all the money, they control this land, and that's not biblical prophecy. So I challenge anybody to look into the biblical prophecy, because then you'll find out, because this is our land. This is my land. This is your land. And in the future, we are going to come back to this land. All of our people in Jamaica, all our people in Haiti, all our people in Ghana, and West Africa, and South Africa, and Zimbabwe, we coming back here. And we're going to inhabit the old waste cities, because this is our real estate. We have all this real estate. And just like scriptures say, we was going to be scattered, and we was going to be in other people's lands while our land rests, paying rent, we being oppressed. Everything that's written in the Old Testament is being fulfilled. And about it, with us, with the Palestinians, and with these fake Jews, the Most High said that he was going to take, being that we drove him to jealousy. It's in Deuteronomy chapter 31, verse 20. He said, being that we drove him to jealousy, he was going to take a non-people and make us jealous with these non-people, with these people that are no people. And that prophecy has been fulfilled. You can see brothers out there from the Hebrew Israelite community out there on the street, going in on a white man or whatnot and stuff like that. But these Palestinians are just paying for the sins of their fathers. So that's what you're seeing what's happening, and
Mm.
they got to pay. Yeah, that's what's happening.
You
So,
said
but
you
the media. Mm-hmm.
go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead, go ahead.
No, I'm sorry, Ty. You go ahead. You go ahead, brother.
I was gonna say you just said that they talking about the Jewish people even said in the scriptures that they are not, you know, Jews or anything. Where or something along that line, where can we look that at? Because I'm gonna look up that and actually post that, you know, here in this video where they say that they are not, you know, real basically Hebrews or something like that.
Oh yeah, it's in Deuteronomy 31. It's either verse 20 or 21. It talks about how that we driven the Most High to jealousy and with things that are not God, and that He was going to take a foolish people and make us jealous with this foolish nation. You see
Mm.
what I'm saying? So, and also, yeah, it talks about that there. But there's some scripture in the New Testament, in Revelations chapter 2 and verse 9 and 3 and 9, it talks about the synagogue of Satan, that those people who are Jews that are not, that are the synagogue of Satan. There's another book by Arthur Koestler called The 13th Tribe. And you can read that book. He gives you a whole history of these people, where they come from the Caspian Sea and the Black Sea, and how they got and how they became Jews. They started from the Khazarian Empire, and then once they got conquered by Genghis Khan, their identity changed. They became Polish and German. So the book is called The 13th Tribe by Arthur Koestler. So you can, that's a good one too. So I recommend people tap into that, and also look at the conditions, how the Hebrew Israelites are supposed to be in Deuteronomy the 28th chapter, Leviticus 26, the prophets. Look at Jeremiah chapter 9 verse 11, how the land would be, and how in Amos chapter 9 verse 11, how the Most High said he was going to build up Mount Zion on his own ruins, how he was going to build it back up and stuff like that. And right where it's at, he's going to build it back up. See how it's going to be even higher in the future. And then and so you can read about that there in the book of Amos, chapter 11. And so that there's a couple of scriptures, but let me see. Hold on, Ty. Okay. Yep. So you can read about that there.
Okay. All right. So, brother, I'm gonna let you get back to the grid, and then we're gonna pick up on this. You know, and you can show us
Okay.
the books and different things of that nature. You
Okay.
know,
Yes,
I
sir.
appreciate you for taking time out again, for coming on here on the podcast and actually
Yes, sir. Absolutely.
showing us this is where it
Yes.
is. This is where our people's are ours, where we from, giving us the knowledge,
Yes.
going diving
Yes.
into the scriptures and where people could look it up. I'm gonna post some of that as
Yes.
well, you know. And like I said, I
Yes.
appreciate you, brother. And we're gonna link up shortly in a few minutes. You know, take your time, be safe, getting home,
Okay.
and we gonna dive into the other things, man. And I want you showing us all
Okay.
that
Thanks for having me
information.
on. Thanks for having me on. Thanks for having me on. And peace to everybody from Peace Skill. Peace Skill, Mount Vernon, Yonkers. Shout out to all you brothers out there, my family, my Turner family, my Chestnut family, and my Marsh family, my Smythe family. And shout out to the Welch family as well. The Hammonds, all the families out there. Peace.
Correct. Peace.